3. Hi, welcome to One Bowl of Rice Story. I'm Gus Arianto, the founder of One Bowl of Rice. At One Bowl of Rice, we believe that kindness, passion, courage, and authenticity are the key DNA of successful leaders. Today, I'm so proud to be able to share with you the journey of Stephen Walker, owner of Kookaburra Homes, leading builder from Adelaide, Australia. His journey started when he left home at the age of 14 and today run a successful business in Adelaide, Australia. He is a kind, passionate, courageous, and authentic leader. And I'm so proud to welcome Stephen. Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
G'day, mate. How are you, Gus? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time too. Stephen, I've been following you through your social media. Unfortunately, we are in lockdown. Otherwise, we are doing this interview live where you and I can sit in the room. I'm so proud to have you today. And I want to tell you why. You know, throughout the time when I'm following you, every time you mention things through social media notes and also through the people that give me a feedback about you, you always focus on people. You know, you love your team, you love your people, you're doing a lot of great initiative with your own podcast as well. But it feels like you are a leader that can't live without people. You seems to be so passionate about people, but I don't want to touch about that. Maybe we touch about that at the very end. Do you mind to share with the audience, the One Bowl of Rice audience, about yourself, your journey, just in the summary of your journey yourself?
Yeah, thanks, mate. I do love people. People are the reason why I do everything, and we'll go into that in more detail, no doubt. But what you said at the beginning, I ran away from home when I was 14, and I never returned, and haven't seen my parents since. And I left a pretty abusive, emotionally and physically abusive home. So I left school, I ran away, I joined the circus, and I did that for a period of time. And I moved back to Adelaide when I was 15, and then moved all over the country. I found myself in Darwin, where I got a retail job up there. I started to really harness my skill in retail, and then found my way back down in Adelaide. Really this entire time looking after myself. And I was lucky enough to get a job at Harvey Norman. And I fell in love with Harvey Norman, and retail and sales was probably the first thing that I was really, really good at in my life outside of sport. I was quite good at basketball when I was quite young. And it was one of the things where people were saying, hey, you're pretty good at this. And I felt like I had a path and I could see a future for myself. And so I moved around with Harvey Norman, and I was lucky enough to become the youngest Harvey Norman in franchise history at the age of 23. I got my first store in regional Queensland. And then I got my next store in Thomastown, which is near Melbourne Airport. And then I found my way back to Adelaide. I left the Harvey Norman business model. I got involved in construction without having a background in construction. I just became a sales manager, fell in love with it. And then I really saw an opportunity to do it better. I thought the construction industry was a really old model, especially when it came to sales and marketing and caring about people and others. It was very much motivated by greed. And I thought there was an opportunity in the market to go and create a real point of difference. And, Kookaburra Homes came along 7 years ago, and I had an opportunity to purchase, which I did. And like you mentioned, but before, going live, that, 7 years, we're a $6 million business now. We turn over 67 million. Wow. So in a very short amount of time. So, and we're a profitable business. Everyone wants to talk revenue, but are you actually making any profit? Yeah. Because the revenue's that grabs you. You think, oh, wow, but how much money are you actually making? So we're a profitable business. And, I've been able to grow whatever business I've been in, whether it's Harvey Norman, Kookaburra Homes. I've been able to grow up with the help of people. Yeah. Is that short enough?
That's fantastic. And I can talk about this for 5 hours, just taking certain key areas that that I think will interest a lot of people. But I want to come back to your beginning. Obviously, we're not starting when you're born, but when you left home. I always believe that where you start, it's not important because you can't control where you start in life. You can born in different countries, you can born with different capability, but where you finished, it's different. Leaving home at the age of 14, my youngest son is 16 and I still think he's young. I can't imagine him walking away from my home. I'm thinking, what can he do? Right?
Yes.
Can you bring us back to that, Steve? Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm hoping that I'm not taking this in the wrong context, but I don't feel a bad energy even when you say that you left home at 14, living a very destructive background, but you say it with a lot of love. That's how I feel. You say it with you don't have hatred through your past. It feels like that. Can you come back to that? How that shaped you today?
Yeah, I'm thankful. I've learned to be thankful, and I'm at peace with it. I could not wish for any different upbringing. I haven't consciously gone away and thought, okay, I've got to turn this negative into a positive. It just naturally happened to me. I had this drive inside of me that I wanted to be something greater than what my parents were. I wanted to have my own family. I have two beautiful kids. I have a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old daughter. So I'm glad it happened, because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. If it didn't happen, I wouldn't be able to show massive amounts of empathy towards others. I wouldn't have an open heart. I wouldn't be understanding. I don't think I would be. I think a lot of me would be missing. So I'm thankful I experienced so much pain, because I have a unique ability to recognize pain in others very, very easily. Because I can see, I get emotional now just talking, because I see pain in people very, very easily. So I can relate, I can show empathy, I can motivate, I can help people from a dark place and bring them to a light place. It's funny when you talk about, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you end. I remember growing up playing, Division 1 basketball. I remember I had this coach and he would never start me, and, you always start the stars, right? They always start on the court first. And he said to me, I need you at the end. Stop worrying that you're not in at the start of the game, because it's the end that matters. You should be worrying who's in at the end, when it really matters, when it comes down to it. Are you in or you're on the bench? So don't get caught up that I haven't put you in the first minute of the game, because this is a long game. So if you think about life as a game, this is a long game. It doesn't matter, like you said, the first minute of the game that's like this. It's how you end. It's what happens in between.
Yeah, but 14 years old, it's not like 24. It's like you literally have no, sorry, once again, I make a lot of assumption based on my son here. You have no money. You have no money. You have no mature understanding of how life forward. Who teach you? What can you, how, God, 14 years old, you out, and now you are doing, not only a one-day success, you start in different business, you open franchise, you take risk buying a business. One thing about learning from your experience, but how do you navigate that? Every day, if you can summarize the top 5 things that help you today, coming back when you actually left home, in so much uncertainty, what are the things you hold back then?
I guess when I left 14, I still remember when I left, I got a job, a weekend job. It was just for one weekend, working at a Greek festival here in Adelaide, and it was working on a sideshow. You throw darts at balloons and stuff like that. And the guy said, who owned it, said, if you're not happy at home, my brother owns a circus. He leaves on Monday. So I had $100 in my pocket that I'd made from that weekend working. And Monday morning, I called a train into the city without telling my mum. My dad had left when I was 4, without telling my mum. And he met me at the train station in Adelaide, this guy that owns a circus, and I hopped in and then went to Melbourne and Brisbane and everything like that with $100 in my pocket. And I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have a tax file number. I got paid in cash. You know, we slept in semi-trailers where you'd sleep with the money underneath you because people were coming and going all the time. You pick up new people each town that you went to, right? So it was scary as a 14-year-old kid, but it was easier than being at home. It was less scary because even though I didn't know these people and I was scared, I didn't have an abusive alcoholic mother coming in the middle of the night and emotionally abusing me or physically harming me in any way. So for me, I loved it. And to answer your question, as a 14-year-old kid, I felt like I was 20 years old because I wasn't really attending school because I was having to look after my young sister who was only 3, 4 at the time because mum would disappear for days on end. So she would leave us in the house with no money, no food. So I felt like an adult because I was already being an adult in the house because my mum was not fulfilling that role. So when I left at 14, I felt like an adult. I at least felt like a teenager, like a 17, 18, 19-year-old teenager. So that's what gave me the confidence and the know-how and the ability to really get up and lead because I've been an adult, Gus, since I was very, very young, very, very young. And, you know, surrounded by adults as well, surrounded by mum, surrounded by her friends as well, doing things that were not appropriate around children. And I got to watch adults and see how they behave and see how they manipulate each other and they lie to each other and they use each other. And you just watch and you learn. That's why now in sales, if someone's trying to manipulate me or lie to me, I can pick them straight away because I've seen you since I was 7 years old. I've been around you people.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yes. I just found it incredible, and to the audience, why I want to bring this to the surface is because there's a lot of people, and that's including me, by the way, that have a more fortunate upbringing, more fortunate starting. By no means I said that in comparison, but we wake up every day feeling, oh God, you know, why life is this bad. I mean, I'm sure, you know, let alone, you know, the COVID, the global pressure, your own uncertainty, to listen to you with passion to say that, well, that teach me today. I'm become the expert of understanding people. I can understand how people going through life because you went through that. It's just amazing. Now, can you share more, your darkest moment?
Yeah. So there's a downside because I've gone through life and I've done some things I'm not proud of. I've broken the law. I've done, just silly things, small things, but just things that come from not having structure, not having discipline in life. So I've really struggled with that. I find myself going to dark places a lot of the time. I have to be really careful that I'm not going through life and putting on this facade and just telling myself that everything's okay. Because that's really dangerous. And I'm really aware of that. I'm very in touch with myself. I look within a lot. And, I'm going through something at the moment where, I'm really delving deep into myself to make sure that everything I'm saying, like I am today, that it is the truth, that I just have not programmed myself this way as a coping mechanism. Yeah. I'm 39 years old now. So I think it's got me to this point, but is it now time at my age that I delve deep and I really deal with these things from my past? Because I think that I've squashed them, Gus. Yeah. And it's starting to come out a little bit and be a little bit of a problem. Yeah. And balancing that and having a successful career. And, we've got hundreds of contractors here and I've got, 32 full-time staff with feelings and emotions going through their own stuff. And how do you balance your own stuff and then deal with them as well? So, it all sounds great, but when I go and speak to schools and I speak to kids and they think it's great that I left school and they want to do the same, and I always explain to them that it might sound fun, but there are moments in my life it could have gone like that, and I'm not here.
Yeah.
I didn't have that structure and I didn't have the discipline. So the fact I'm here today is I'm pretty lucky. So even though I'm grateful, there are times I wish that I had it easier. I had people around me to help me because, like I said, there's been 3 or 4 moments in my life where I might not be here. So it gets hard, and balancing it all. It's hard. So.
And you know what's amazing listening to you, Steve? It's so easy. Like what you said, you can put a facade. This is a podcast. This is a video. We know you are a successful business person. You are featured at the CEO magazines, right? Of course, it's so easy for you to put a facade, but you openly say that you have your darkest moment. You even say that you are lucky. That's how humble you are from the other side looking in, just for you to know, in case you do not know. That's how I feel. Like I didn't feel like I'm talking to someone that said, "Hey, I'm a Superman because I can do all this." You say throughout the darkest time, you do not want anyone to actually repeat what you repeat, because it can go from here to there in just the matter of that. But
Gus, to be honest, I'm sad a lot of the time. Really sad. Like I struggle. It's hard. But I tell people that because my staff find it hard. Life's hard. Life's hard, mate.
It is. It is.
Especially, really hard.
Especially with you now on the top, you will be very lonely. It is a lonely job.
Yeah, very lonely. So, I love that I get sad, because with sadness comes empathy and understanding. And like I said before, I recognize sadness in customers, I recognize sadness in staff, and I can relate. And, I'm not cold to it. I can have conversations with them and I can share some of my story as well. And, I've been able to grow businesses because I can get everyone on the same page very, very quickly, because I can lead them. They understand that I am like them. I'm not trying to be a Superman. That life's hard, it's tough. So we got to stick together. We don't have titles or, none of that here. It's just we all have roles and responsibilities. I like to talk about having responsibilities more than titles. I have a job that I've got to do, so do those people. And we stick together as a family and we help each other, because life can't all be about Kookaburra Homes. Like one life and it's Kookaburra, like that's what defines you. It's just rubbish. Like, I don't even like construction. I'm not passionate about it. I wasn't passionate about selling TVs and computers. I've zero passion. I design all our award-winning homes and they win this and they win that. And not because I love architecture, but I listen to people. I listen to their wants, their needs. So when I go and design or create something, it's because I've listened. So my passion is people. It doesn't matter what I'm selling or what business I'm involved in. It's has to be about the people.
And you know what come across as well? I think the people is actually the center of success, right? We know that. Doesn't matter. You can pick any business. If the people fail, the business fail. Unfortunately, many leaders, maybe I can't say many because there's many good leaders as well. In my career as well, I see leaders that believe that things will be okay without the people. And even if they believe people are important, they do not demonstrate that. However, once again, I see that. I hear that. That's your main strength. And I'm a very, very believer that, by the way, Superman is my idol when I was a kid, throughout the late 70s and 80s. If someone asked me what I want to be, I want to be a Superman. Now I realized that if you are a Superman today, you cannot save people. Like I really, really believe on this throughout my own leadership, that if I have to choose between being Stephen Walker and being a Superman, I will choose to be you, because your broken path allow you to connect with many more people. Because like what you said, you understand people pain before they tell you, through they are. Superman can kill with their laser. Superman can't really understand what go through the thing. And Steve, that really come across. Thank you for sharing on that. I mean, I guess, you know, one bowl of rice, by the way, to the audience, it's not all about the broken path. I want to repeat again, the reason why we're bringing leaders like Stephen is because we want to show you that where you start and how you finish. And even if you are right now in the journey of pain, if you restore your discipline, hold to your faith, and keep continuously learning and believe that, you know, you can make it. This is the proven example, and I'm just so proud. Now, Steve, what's your top 5 learnings, Steve? If you can summarize the top 5 learnings, if you bring back, if Stephen Walker life is a university, right? If you are a university, and I want to know the top 5 subject to be able to graduate from Walker University, based on your experience from when you leave home, or even before when you going through madness at home, till today, a father, a family man, a successful businessman. What is your top 5 learning that we can all learn?
Yeah, I don't know if I have 5, Gus, but I have a few that I live by. I learned a long time ago that, and you'll hear this a lot, that you must be really connected to your why. You have to be. You have to really spend the time to work out what your why is. And once you get your head around that, and as long as you're being honest with yourself, then that really is the springboard, the platform that allows you to go do whatever you need to do in life. And if you are really connected to your why, when life gets hard or you feel like you're going off course, if you are connected and you stay connected, then, you know, it will bring you back to the path that you're trying to achieve. So my first bit of advice, which I've changed my why many, many times over my life, you know, my why now is my children, I'm very connected to that why. So it doesn't matter what else happens in life or how hard things get, I do everything for my children. So, you know, I would say connect to your why.
Yeah, can I add something, Steve, before we move?
Yeah.
Because it's important. I believe in that too. You know, I'm not sure whether you very close to the concept from Simon Sinek, for example. You know, why. But then when we talk about really connected to your why, how do you find your why? How do you find your why? What happened if I'm the old Steve back then, and this is the first thing I said, God, why my life like this? Like I know what you mean. Understand your why for the future. Why you doing things? Why do you even brave enough to walk from home? Why do you brave enough to buy Kookaburra Homes, making it from small business to a successful business? But is there any method that you can share with us? How do you, the simple method, non-textbook, how do you get to understand your why?
It's hard, mate. It's really hard, especially when you're younger, because you don't understand what that means. You've heard about setting goals and, I used to set a lot of goals when I was younger, and then I really moved away from that, and I really just concentrate on my why now. So when I was younger, I had goals, and the reason why I did things without really thinking about them. I was doing them to avoid pain.
Yes.
So that was my motivator and drive.
Yes.
And that's why today I need to be careful that I'm still not doing that. Today I'm really focused on making sure I come from a place that is not just because I'm driven by the pain of the past, because I don't think that's great for me. So, because pain has driven me my entire life. So, so in terms of the why do you do things, I think
Is it more finding your why you doing things, or finding your why you want to get somewhere, or both?
I think it's both, but I've learned that as you know, like I said, I'm 39 now. For a lot of my life, what I thought was important to me wasn't really important, or you have to be careful that when you are setting goals, they're not just goals of others or what other people want. I think a lot of people do that. Yeah, I think now I'm talking it out loud, mate. That's probably the biggest thing. I was setting goals that others have.
Yes. Or most people that I see, they setting goals so they can be accepted by people that don't like them in the first place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm moving on from, I've spent my whole life trying to be liked, or trying to be something that my parents weren't, trying to break that chain of, a family of no hopers or underachievers, or I don't really care about that anymore. I don't chase love anymore. I don't chase pain. It's that, I don't know if you've heard of Michael Singer, but Michael Singer, I'm spending a lot of time listening to about, pain will come and go, and so will love will come and go. And there's no point focusing on either or. Things will just happen. You just got to sit with yourself and let things happen and then pass through you. Don't let them sit with you too long, whether it is love or someone says something negative about you, or you think they've said something negative about you. I'm really learning at 39 to let it just come in and then go. Come in and go. I don't store it anymore. And that allows me to be completely free and really focus on my why, which is my children. And then, you know what? As soon as I stop focusing and setting goals on money, I've never had more money. It's crazy, Gus. As soon as I forgot about, because I realized that it was someone else's goal, it actually wasn't important to me. I thought I better have a money goal, but I don't care about money. I really don't. It doesn't bother me. I thought I did, but when I connected myself to the why and I concentrated on that and I stayed true to it, everything else just happened. Money started coming. Business started coming. It's crazy.
That is just fantastic, and thank you for sharing that. I a true believer on that concept. By no means it's easy, trying to stay true to your why, trying to make sure that you work very, very strongly that this is my why, and I'm not doing this because of pleasing other people or things like that. It's not easy. It's not easy. And for you to be able to, moving, like what you said, circus, retail, successful retail, and then let go. Like like if you're driven by money, then you will be taking a lot of time to think about that. Let go, move to a new business, construction, which is a very competitive, like you only been in this game in construction, how long? 6 years. 6 years. Like I'm sure a lot of people will talk about who's this Stephen Walker, who's this Stephen Walker in the construction, but yet you bring the thing. Okay, great. And what's your second one from university?
Yeah, so I would say when I finished with the circus after 1 year, I moved back to Adelaide and I didn't have a home, and I had to, I stayed with a friend for a little while, and I got a job doing door-to-door sales, working on full commission. So I was 15 years old and I was pretending I was 18 years old, and I was going around Adelaide CBD here and I was knocking on businesses, trying to convert them from Telstra to AAPT. And I wasn't legally old enough to sign the contracts. So I had to pretend I was 18. So I'd sign them all up, and then my manager would have to come back later that day and sign up these people. And, working on full commission as a 15-year-old kid, I learned at a very young age to be resilient and never give up. And also to question the status quo. So, for example, what would happen is we would go into the city, would have a sales meeting at head office. They'd load us into vans. They'd drop us in the city and would work from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock while the businesses were open. And the biggest problem in door-to-door sales, as you probably know, is getting past the gatekeeper, which is the receptionist. They don't want you in there. So you need to get to the decision maker. So even as a 15-year-old kid, I worked out at a very young age that you can do different things differently. You don't have to do them the same way they've always been done. So what I did is I stopped going to the sales meeting in the morning, and I started knocking on doors at 7:30 when they were closed. Because who gets there first?
Yeah, the owner.
The owner. So everyone thought I was crazy because I was knocking on doors that weren't open. So I was working 7:30 to 9 a.m., making more money than anyone else while they were working 9 to 5. I was banging on doors, and I was always getting to talk to the decision maker every single time. So I thought then, and I realized, one, you have to be resilient. You've got to keep going. You know, I lasted a year in that job where the average person lasts 4 days. And then I realized, Steve, you know what? And I still do this today. We don't have to do, just because my competitors are doing it that way, doesn't mean I have to do it that way.
Yes.
So I learned to do things different. I learned to be courageous and step outside of the norm. And when it doesn't work because it takes time, then you must be resilient. You can't give up.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Can I ask you something on behalf of the audience too? When we talk about resilient, don't give up, at what point you need to rest?
I haven't learned. I haven't learned that yet. I don't know.
But do you also? And I'm a true believer. Resilient. It's funny how you mention things that is aligned with my organization mission and values. To be honest, you talk about resilient and don't give up, challenging the status quo. And I'm sure as a leader, if you put challenging status quo as your key concept of leadership, you will be someone that will be happy to be challenged equally. I'm sure, because otherwise, how can you demand we want to challenge status quo, but only from top down, not down top? And doing all this will be quite exhausting. I'm sure it will be exhausting. Not to mention you have your own demon, just like everyone else, right?
Yep.
At what point you actually resting? Like I'm not talking about weekend resting. Of course, everyone weekend, but do you also go to the moment like, oh God, you know, like, all right, I'm resting, so we can have a balance. What's your view around that between resilient, don't give up, and balanced?
Yeah, so one of my biggest skill sets I think that I've learned is that I can instill this in others. So if we're talking from a business point of view, I have a number of people when I feel tired and I need to rest and I just can't think of any ideas and where I'm going to go next, I've instilled in all my people and given them the confidence to think on my behalf, to always be thinking. So this is how I've grown so quickly. I've got 32 people every weekend thinking about ways to improve my business because I get buy-in from them. So come month, you know, I just had a meeting just before here with my amazing marketing manager, who she came up with an idea. I was like, why have I never thought about that? But she thought about it last night when she was driving in the car. So I can afford to take rest now because I've got other people out there that we take it in turns. You know, I always think about that really, and I tell my staff all the time, that famous Colgate story from 1970 when, you know, Colgate were in a world of financial pain. And, you know, all the top line managers sat in the board meeting and they said, okay, how are we going to increase sales? Have you heard this story, Gus?
No.
Then how are we going to increase sales? We're about to go bankrupt here. And someone said, oh, why don't we ask the people that work on the factory floor? And the lady that back then, she would punch the hole into the tube of the toothpaste. That's what she did for 15 years. She put her hand up and said, why don't you make the hole bigger? So people use more toothpaste, so they have to buy it more regularly. And I remember reading that in a book when I was maybe 20. And I thought, that's the key. It doesn't matter what position you have in the business or what you do, you should get engagement from everyone because you never, ever know where that idea is going to come from. Don't be so arrogant that you need to come up with the ideas. There's actually more fun in listening to others and helping share their ideas and promoting them. that's where the fun comes from.
Oh
So that's how I rest, I guess. That, yeah.
No, that's actually fantastic, right? Because the reality is, on the journey to climb Mount Everest, let's just use Mount Everest as an example. There's no doubt all the climbers will have to stop at different times. Well, you can't stop if you're not surrounded by people you can trust, that will also allow you to close your eyes, because storm can come in, because throughout your journey you've been stabbing them in the back and never listen to them. So what I get from you, that I think we can all learn, invest in your surrounding, which is people. So the minute you need to close your eyes, the engine of your success car is keep going when you are taking a nap. That's how I take your concept, which is I quite really like it. So what basically you say, yes, we need to rest, because we are a human, we're not a machine. Make sure you build an environment that when you rest, the success car is keep going, because
that's exactly right. Gus, I remember when I was 20 and I was second in charge at a Harvey Norman store in Melbourne, and my franchisee was going to Sydney and I was going with him, and the new franchisee was coming in, and we're doing a handover stock take. And we'd taken this store from, ranked 30th in the country to top 2 in the country in terms of revenue. And I remember saying to this franchisee that was coming in, "Oh, you must be really excited to get this store." And he said, "Well, I'm not, because you don't understand business yet, Steve. Yes, you can motivate a team and you can grow a business, but what you haven't learnt yet is, unless you're here, this business does not succeed. So you've actually set me up to fail, Steve, because you're leaving. And without you, this business is nothing." He said, "You don't get business. You get sales, yes, but you don't understand how to grow and develop a business that when you're not here, it still continues." And I thought at the time, stuff you, mate. Do you know what I mean? 20 years old, arrogant. And then I realized, oh, he's right. So forever and a day, I've been just trying to create businesses and teams that if I'm not here, they don't need me here. So I learned that very, very young. It's not about me. That's not a sustainable, successful business if it just relies on one person.
That's fantastic.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I wanna. So you cover the key subject of Walker University. Really connected to your why, resilient, don't give up, challenge status quo, build your surrounding to make sure that you can have equally enough rest while the engine are moving. Now let's talk about your leadership, right? As mentioned before on the opening, I've been following you, Steve. You are never stop talking about people, helping people. Some of the comments from your past employee, your current employee, and this is I can't remember who's the comment from, but it's one of the comment on your post where they said, "I remember, Steve, when I started, when I'm just still started." Like, people actually go back, way back. This guy, remember you when he started, you help him by physically and mentally helping him in different areas of the business as a leader. People love you. So if I can ask you this, what are your leadership style and qualities that you can share with us that you think really work today and tomorrow?
I think the first thing as a leader, you need to be confident in your own ability. You can't be scared that someone else is better at your job. And that's really hard when you work in big corporates where there's layers of management. If you're a manager and you have someone underneath you, they could be better at your job or have better ideas, but we don't want to promote that person because we're so scared that they're going to take our job. but it's not actually the truth. I think the managers and the leaders that really win in 2021 are the ones that grab the people that are underneath them and promote them and help them. And instead of, when I was very young, I was a bad manager, I'd push down on people. And then I learned and I felt comfortable in myself and confident. I started realizing, the trick is to get the people underneath, promote them, help them, and they'll naturally push you up to another level. So I'm always pushing up. I'm always giving credit where credit's due. I'll come up with ideas and tell my staff, and I'll let them have the idea. I don't care. I'm so confident in my own ability, and I'm not frightened that someone can do a better job than me. There's probably 3 or 4 people here that could do my job and do it better. And I tell everyone, it's the truth. And in doing that, I get the most out of those people, if that makes sense. So don't be scared, have self-confidence in your own ability, and don't be scared of others or threatened or,
Wow.
Does that make sense?
It is. And you know what? That concept will only be executed well, even if you are confident. So I see a lot of confidence leaders that are unable to do what you just said. You have an ability to make something simple look simple, but simplicity carry complexity, in my opinion. You can be confident, but you're not kind. You can't allow people to develop. You can be confident, but you're not allowing other people to be even better than you, because everyone carry the success, right? Like what you said, I got 4 people in my organization that can take over and do better job than me. Steve, you just said publicly here. You, as the owner of Kookaburra Homes, just said publicly, there's 4 people that can do your job better. You know why? Because not only you are confident, because I'm sure, given the opportunity, you want people around you to be doing much better than you. That's how I believe. Because I think you are a sort of a person that don't need other people to be under you, so you can actually be on top. I think listening to your story quickly, circus, retail, construction, owning business, whatever you name it, putting money under your pillow. I think you are a sort of a leader that believes that, hey, my success happened because the help of others. My success is not happen because other people have to be under me. That really, really simple to say, hard to do if you're not kind. If you're not kind, you can't do it. What's the second thing about leadership that you can share with us, Steve? That I like that one, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, mate. The other one as well is I've worked in organisations where it's been a parent-child relationship, where I've felt like I'm the child, even though I may be a grown adult. We don't have any parent-child relationships here. I've got people in my business, majority of them are actually older than me. So I try not to have parent-child relationships. I don't micromanage. I can't even tell you what time my staff get here. I've no idea. I don't even know what hour. Like, people will start and then a week later say, Steve, what are my hours? I don't know. I don't care. I actually don't care. I don't performance manage. And, now this is me for Kookaburra, right? I get that in big corporate, you must, because you get a problem person, you need to have it documented. But at the end of the day, I just think that life is not about Kookaburra. You're an adult. I'm an adult. I want you to not ever come to work and feel scared. My responsibility is to create an environment where you can come to work and feel loved. You feel protected. You feel like you can grow. I'm not going to ever treat you like a child. Back to that, no titles. We just have responsibilities of things that you expect of me, and there's things I expect of you. And as long as you get them done, we don't have a problem. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't care. I just want to have really good conversations with my staff. And, like I said, it's not all about Kookaburra. It can't be. Now, my staff don't even put in leave certificates. I don't even know where they are half the time, because I trust them. So I guess the message is that I've really got a leadership style that is based on trust.
Yes. Yes.
That's it. I trust them. And if I don't trust you, then we have a conversation and you go your separate ways, which has happened many times.
Yeah. And the other thing, Steve, this is what I believe as well. And you touched a topic that I like the most, because a lot of people talk about trust, but then they say trust have to be earned, and I always combat them, because if trust have to be earned, that means we have to wait 10 years before the business going. For you to be successful in a very short period of time, you must be some sort of a leader that gives a lot of trust until it's broken. Right?
I trust you as soon as I hire you. So I will go all in from the very beginning. From the first minute I meet you, I'm all in. If you break it, you break it. Life happens. It doesn't matter. I let it come in, then it goes out. But I will double down and go all in on you immediately. And then I'll let you disappoint me.
And Steve, that is one of the hardest thing in today's world, where leaders are unable to do that genuinely. Right? Everyone talk about trust. We want to be trusted. I mean, I feel trusted the minute you come on screen, because you allow your story to be publicly shown. Right? Of course, depending on what I do with that story, trust can be broken. But you didn't. Oh, Gus, can you sign a document where, like, you just openly say things that in the public domain, you trust me that I will bring the best of your story for the benefit of thousands of people all over the world, learning from you. And I think trust have to be given, and if it's broken, well, people do make mistake, so let's not make. I have a coach, my personal coach, for the last almost 2 decades, and I remember a decade ago, she said to me, her name is Graciela Schwartzberg.
Okay.
And she's also a professor of University of Sydney on the leadership. And she said to me, Gus, just remember, you're not God. This is 10 years ago. just remember, right, Mike? You're not God. Okay. So stop talking about, I can't trust you because you don't do things right. Well, you're not God. You want to trust, you give everything you got, and you in return will get everything you can get, because people wake up with a good intent. And I think you execute this well, because you must be surrounded by a lot of good people that want to make you successful, a lot of people that want to make Kookaburra successful.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I try and always tell my managers that you want to create the most positive, supportive environment possible, because only then will the really bad ones stand out. It can't be on you. Where I've been to many businesses where, oh, she's bad, he's bad. No, your environment's bad. Of course they're going to be bad. So we try and create the most uplifting environment possible, because then the bad ones, they stand out. They're so obvious.
Yes.
They're so obvious. And then you move them on, you know.
Well, Steve, I can talk to you for hours, to be honest, because you just easy to talk to. You're not like a rocket scientist bringing textbook theory about how to run life. I love everything you say. But before we close and I summarize, you do your own podcast too, right? To help construction industry, especially in South Australia. Do you mind to share with my audience, because maybe we can learn from all your guest speaker on your own podcast? What's the name of the podcast? How do we find it? Do you mind to just share with us this exciting podcast of yours?
Yeah, thanks, mate. So it's called the Pro Builder Podcast. So we've been named Professional Builder of the Year 2 years in a row. In 2 weeks' time, we find out where, if it's a three-peat, like Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls. So that's where the name comes from, the Pro Builder, and you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all those sorts of podcast places. But I created it for a number of reasons. I think there's enough for everyone out there. The pie is so big that there's some really good builders out there doing some really good things, but they don't know how to market themselves. You know, and these people have families as well. So they're just trying to do the best that they can. They have their own story and their own why. So I created it as an opportunity to highlight other builders and trades in the industry to come on and talk about what they do and who they are. And I don't care that, you know, I've had multiple builders on that are my competitors. I don't care. I don't care at all. If you want to buy off me or buy off them, it doesn't bother me at all. There's enough for everyone. And so I created this podcast to highlight other people in the industry like myself doing really good things. Now, the other side of it, if you put my marketing hat on for a second, is in 2021, customers want to buy from brands that show massive amounts of empathy. They are sick of the self-arrogance of me, I'm so good, they're not good. They're over it. They want to hear conversations between like-minded people where people are helping each other and promoting each other. And I think the builder in South Australia that shows a massive amount of empathy ultimately wins. You know, since I've been telling everyone, go build with him, I can't stop taking deposits. My business has gone through the roof. And I'm telling everyone, go over there. But they keep coming here. So that's a bit of my marketing hat on, which is I know what the consumer is after these days, and they want people and brands to be empathetic to others, to each other. And that's what is really cutting through at the moment. So that's part of the podcast as well, a little bit of an insight in part of our internal marketing strategy as well. And I get to help other builders and other people. So it's win-win.
Wow. You must have a lot of energy, drink a lot of Baroccas in the morning. Everything is about, hey. By the way, Red Bull, One Bowl of Rice is a non website. We don't accept we don't accept advertising money, but Stephen Walker from Kookaburra Homes Adelaide, drink your brands, and love it. So Steve, let me summarize what and how I feel. But before I summarize, I just want to say this to One Bowl of Rice audience. One Bowl of Rice is a concept of leadership that I believe will be very relevant today and tomorrow. Rice is the most basic thing in a food cuisines, especially in Asia, because I come from Asia. I use that as an example. Stephen Walker from Kookaburra Homes shared with us a story from the very beginning, humble beginning of pain to a success story today in different type of businesses. When we hear about his story, he always focused on others, giving trust, helping others, sharing, empowering his team to do best, to the extent he publicly said that his team probably can do better than what he's doing today. Stephen Walker is a representation of steamed rice, a basic grain of food that will bring the best of any other food surrounding a bowl of rice. When you go to an Asian restaurant, no one will eat just the steamed rice. They will eat the lobster, the curry chicken, the grilled chicken. But in the absence of rice, everything is not connected. Stephen Walker bring people together. He connect the industry through his podcast, ProBuilder podcast. He bring the connectivity of all the professional builders in Adelaide. Through his concept of trust and empowerment, he bring the power of people to work together for the best outcome. It's not all about Kookaburra Homes. It's about successful people bringing the best of their expertise and themselves so everyone else becomes successful. Stephen Walker University believe three things, really connected to your why. Be resilient or never give up, because things will get better, and challenge the status quo. And when you're doing all this, do it with kindness. Stephen Walker, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
really grateful that you can come to my One Bowl of Rice interview. I wish you success, and I will follow you. I can learn from you. I just love the way you bring simple things to your success. Thank you, Steve.
I appreciate you, Gus. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.